Another episode of the Washed Up Walk Ons. This is one of those episodes we need Drake here because he would give that fantastic intro. We don't have him. He's on vacation right now, actually. We have me. I'll try to do it justice. We have one of our former teammates on tonight, Don Shumpert, our guy Shump. Haven't talked to him in a decade. We're real excited to have him on the show. He's been doing big things since we left Iowa. He was there in our first year during 2013. And when you're a freshman, you don't get a lot of time to learn about the older guys. Shump's walking around. As freshmen, we're just scared. It's like Kirksey and Sheriff and all these guys are walking around. You're just trying to shut your mouth and learn what you're supposed to do. Shump was one of those guys. He didn't have a lot to say back then. When he did say something, it meant something. Kind of led by example. We're going to learn a little bit more about him tonight and hopefully tell a little bit more about his story as a Hawkeye and beyond. Don Shumpert, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tyler. I appreciate it. It's always good to catch up with a former teammate.
It's been a long time. Black and gold. How did Don Shumpert ever end up in the black and gold? What did that recruiting story look like?
Yeah, so ironically, I want to say about my junior year, the University of Iowa, they started recruiting me. I didn't know where Iowa was located on the map. And I'm from Plain right above me, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go on the map and check it out. And once I took a visit, you just got that family atmosphere, that continuity, longevity. That's what really brought me to Iowa. And thankfully that's what really got me into coaching. Coach Franz, he took the opportunity to bring me back as a GA in 2015 to start my coaching career, after I left Iowa. So, I think the same reason why I went there, it paid off for me because it's still the same continuity, it's the same good people. And, it was good for me. It was good for me.
Who recruited you?
So Eric Johnson.
Okay.
I don't know if Eric was around with Tyler, probably not.
So that was his nickname was Soup, right?
Well, that was Coach Campbell.
Oh, that was Campbell. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric Johnson.
Yeah. Was on for about a year and a half during our tenure.
Johnson went on to he got out of football and started owning Culver's, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's one of the funnier stories.
I mean, it's honestly a pretty good pivot, not gonna lie.
No, it definitely is. I mean, he's a businessman. He actually is doing financial services now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just got certified and he started a company with a couple other guys. So
you keep in touch with him decent amount?
Say it again.
You keep in touch with him then, or just kind of keep tabs on him?
I do. We probably touch base once or twice a year. He looked out for me a lot. Just being my recruiting guy. He made sure I was good when I got to Iowa. Them days we wasn't eating a lot of meals. You had one meal a day. In the summertime, you had no meals, so it was crazy. But he'd make sure he'd give me a couple burgers or something. I could throw it on the stove. So for this little small stuff like that, since my freshman year, me and him had a tight connection because he was always about the athlete.
Man, it was crazy back then. Because you got one meal a day, only during certain periods of the year too to get training table. So it's back in the summer, guys had to get jobs just to afford rent and food, especially during the summer. It's and if you just got on campus, you're trying to figure out which way is up and you got to get a job. You got to show up to workouts. You have no idea what's going on at workouts, at classes or anything, man. That's the guys these days have no idea how easy they got it.
Man, they have it made. So my first year coaching at Iowa, that was the first year where they actually got 3 meals a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying to myself, you guys just don't know. We had to go to Hillcrest and eat dorm food. And basically, every Monday we had to make weight. So that Sunday, we eating Papa John's, McDonald's, anything that we could possibly eat to gain some weight.
Yeah.
For cheap, so those were some different days.
You had to do it on a budget too. You got to go get a $5 footlong from Subway or, So
that it is funny. And that was for everybody. They got dinner. They got 5 meals a week, 6 meals a week.
It was Hillcrest food. It wasn't the catered meals that they got now that were really high quality stuff. It was basically the same stuff that every other student got at Hillcrest.
Yeah.
It really was.
When did you know, Shump, that you were going to be a football player? Like, was it
Well,
middle school? Was it early on? Were you like St. Louis? There's basketball players in St. Louis. Like, what did that look like?
so actually was a basketball player. That was my first sport. I started playing basketball in the first grade. Actually had some D1 offers to play basketball. Like at the time, Wichita State, they gave me a offer.
Oh,
Yeah, they went to the Final Four like
Yeah,
three
man. I'm about to
times.
say they went on a run
I said they
during
were
the
good.
Shockers, baby.
They did. They went on a run, bro. And so I started playing football in the 8th grade. Like I was a late bloomer.
Wow.
And it just started to take off for me. My high school was more of a football school. And so as I continued to play and I grew, I started to get bigger offers, like Big Ten offers. And so I think that's what made me play football. It was just the bigger offers. I mean, from a body standpoint, if I can go back, I'll probably do basketball. I mean, I'm sure you guys can relate, It's a
What
lot of
position
hits.
were you playing in basketball?
I was really like a 2 over 3,
Okay.
3, do a little bit of everything, slasher, but just extremely athletic, bro. So
Man, that would have been a fun run at Wichita State hooping over there, dude. You ever have any regrets about not going that route?
bro, I think about it a lot. I
Yeah,
also think like if I did, I wouldn't be in the position I am today
that's
as
very
far
true.
as from the football side of things. So
Yeah.
it played out the way it was supposed to,
everything works
Sure.
works out for a reason.
for sure.
Yeah, it's because you're what, 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'3", 40-inch vert, long.
Casual.
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 And he ain't lying. He ain't lying. We in the weight room freshman year, and as a freshman, you're looking around. Hey, what do these guys got? Like, can I hang? You look down. Shump's on the vert. He's jumping out of the gym. Okay, I'm not jumping with that guy. Like that's not in the cards today. Like,
Oh
man,
yeah, Kluber, you're a long snapper. You don't give a crap what everyone else is jumping. I'm the DB that just walked into the facility. He's like, all right, what do I got to guard? I'm like, I'm in trouble.
got to guard Shump.
Right.
Tough one.
Welcome to college.
So
Did you have any like memories like that where you like walked into the facility and it's like, damn, there's some dudes around here, man. Like I gotta bring my shit and compete.
No, for sure, man. So I was recruited as a safety.
Oh, no
Coach
kidding.
Parker actually recruiting me as a safety, and I was cool playing safety, but we had a conversation. He was like, Shump, do you want to switch over to offense? And when I seen how big them defensive players was, I was like, yeah, let's make that switch, bro. I was like 170 solid, soaking wet going to IU. I left 200, but I mean, them dudes was extremely big. This the first time you go to a game and you see them dudes walk out, you like, yeah, this is a different type of level, And as a young cat, you don't really, I guess the belief is not as high as you would like it because you got to work yourself into it.
For sure.
But definitely that was my moment, like going to a first game as like a recruit. Like these dudes pretty big, bro.
I think it's kind of healthy to have a little bit of self-doubt as an 18-year-old true freshman or like, I don't know, senior year going into like, a recruiting business. Like, because if you think like you're just going to walk in and like have all the confidence in the world and just dominate, like, it might work out for you if you're a freak, but it's more than likely you're going to get your bell rung. You're going to get woken up to what college football is all about. So I'm curious, coming out of high school, were most places recruiting you as a defensive player or as a receiver?
I think I had more defensive guys, like Wisconsin had me on defense, Minnesota had me on defense. But I was more athlete, by rivals. They had me as an athlete. So the schools was really giving me a chance to play both ways. It was kind of up to me.
That's sick.
Okay. And so did you spend like a whole year as a DB before moving over, or what did that look like?
Yeah, it actually happened quick. On the first training camp, I think we was low on receivers and Soup at the time, Coach Campbell, he brought me into the office and just asked me did I want to switch. As a young player, of course I said, yeah. Looking back at it, like defense is the way to go. It's more things that's in your control. As a receiver, it's a lot of variables that have to, play out for you to make it to the next level.
For sure.
So, if my son decided to play football, I'm telling him, bro, you playing defense. Like that's the way to go.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's smart, right? It's like you always got to follow where your opportunities at. Like I had somewhat similar things when junior year camp. So we ran out of Leo linebackers, and I'm sitting there at third string safety, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to go play linebacker for a few days," and that few days became the rest of my rest of my career. So yeah, sometimes like when they ask, there's like it's more, "Hey, we really think you should do this."
Yeah, they kind of tell you in a sense, like this
Yeah.
is what's going on.
Well, it's one of those things too where when a coach, somebody in a position of authority, hopefully that you respect, like nudges you in a position, you're like, oh, like maybe they want me there, like maybe they think I can succeed there, or this is where they think in their mind I could best help the team, and so you're like, okay, well, that kind of seems like the place then, you
And
know?
where you can best help the team is usually your best opportunity to get on the field too.
Right? Yeah,
especially as a young guy.
yeah.
Especially as a young guy. Yeah.
When you started to get offers, Shump, in junior year, like you said, when you were a freshman, maybe you don't even remember, freshman, sophomore in high school, did you picture yourself going away from home for college, or were you a homebody? Was that hard for you to? I mean, again, St. Louis, right? You probably, by the way, you probably had like Idaho and Ohio and Iowa all confused. You were one of those guys.
Yes, for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
bro. I'm like, what is this, man?
So, St. Louis is what, maybe 6 hours away from Iowa City? 7?
About 4, actually. About
Is it
4.
only 4?
Only
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not bad.
So I'm thinking Des Moines. I didn't know if the okay. So it's not that far away, but far enough that it's hard to go home on a weekend or, so what was that like in your head as a young kid, 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, as a young kid, the school that was big in St. Louis was Mizzou,
Mhm.
but at the time, I think Mizzou was still in the Big 12, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
they also, they never recruited St. Louis like heavy back in the day. It was more they was recruiting a lot of the Texas kids. So I figured that the Mizzou dream was kind of that was cut short. Um, after the Mizzou dream, I mean, University of Illinois, Champaign, that's pretty close, but I wouldn't consider that home. So I knew I would have to leave home to play big time ball. I just never knew what it would look like, and as a young guy going on campus, you just like you said, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, especially going into that summer camp and you going to work. I used to work at the stadium at Kenny Stadium, and I was painting different things and cleaning up trash. And it's like now I'm like a adult officially. You feel me? Like a young adult. And it was different.
yeah.
It was different being away from home. Being away from home, but it makes you grow up and it turns you into a man. So, I definitely recommend leaving home for anybody. Just so
Yeah.
you can grow up.
Definitely had to grow up a little bit faster back then. I mean, with NIL these days, I mean, does anybody get a job anymore?
Bro,
No shot.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Unless they got parents that are just like, you need to work. But like as a student at this point, you're like, well, why? Like I have money to pay for the stuff I need. Me working is
You're spending 60 plus hours a week being a student athlete. It's like,
yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that any energy you put towards a job is just a detriment to you being better as a student athlete. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
yeah, but it's just like 12 years ago, it's just another thing that you just kind of had to do for
Yeah,
like,
there's no choice. No
Yeah.
choice. I still think the greatest story is Travis and Bo and Josie working at the trailer park.
Trailer Park Boys.
Did you know Kirksey? Same class, right?
Yeah. We both came from St. Louis, man. So, we came to Iowa together. I think that was back in 2010.
Yeah.
Came to Iowa, left the same year in 14. So,
Did you know him? Did you know him before Iowa?
Yeah, I know him in high school. Yeah, I know him in high school. My sophomore year, we had met. We had met at Hazelwood East, and we became close. Was good friends. So it was quite a cool story. Definitely was a cool story.
Do you guys like talk to each other like when you're committing or choosing your school or what?
Yeah, we actually committed on the same day, man. We made like
Oh,
a
no
three-way call to Coach Johnson. Like I say, Coach Johnson, that's my dude, man. He was a great guy.
He
Great
probably
guy.
had himself a nice cigar that day.
Yeah.
He definitely did. He got a 2-for-1 special, man.
2-for-1 special. You step in that 2010 summer. I assume maybe you came in camp, but probably summer sometime. And what was your first impressions of the team, your new teammates, the the new schedule? Was it a little bit daunting? Did you have trouble adjusting, or was it What was that like?
The schedule, I would say the toughest thing was maybe waking up like at 5:30, 5 o'clock, especially like in the wintertime when it was snowing outside and we had to make our way over with the mopeds and had to knock out that early lift. Like,
I mean, you were lucky if the moped started in the winter sometimes.
no, for sure, bro. I think that was the most mentally challenged thing because your body was so sore already, and you had to like push yourself that next morning, knowing that you don't really have no energy. But as soon as you know, as soon as you touch Coach Doyle, it's on and popping. You know, like it's not no warm up into it. Like you better be ready to go. You know, so I think that helped me as I got older. Though it helped me just snap into it and start knocking things out. So I think it was good, but at the time I was like, "Ooh, it's tough," you know.
I think as a freshman, that first hour of every day, I ran on pure anxiety before any energy actually kicked in.
For
It was,
sure. Like,
yeah.
don't want to be late, want to make sure you're at the right spot. You know,
Yep.
it's a
Don't
lot of
mess up the
stuff.
cone drills. Don't mess up the ladder drills. Like,
For sure. Hey, the
Hey,
ladder drills, you getting sent home. Don't mess them ladder drills up.
dude, the worst one was the hurdles. Like, you had to like kick over the hurdle.
Yes,
And
I used to hate
if your
those.
heel clips that hurdle, it's not like you can't hide it because everybody
Right.
hears it. It's like you're done. It's over.
Yeah, it's over,
Oh
bro.
my god, I still get anxiety thinking about it.
I know,
Um,
right?
the it was cool, and your whole career, yeah, your whole career was at the old facility, right?
Yeah, bro. Like the whole time, man. Like when they got that new facility, I was like, you guys just y'all do not know. Like
You
that that,
really,
that
did they did I'm curious if like they mentioned that facility at all to you during like your recruiting years or your early years, like, oh yeah, you'll be in there by the end of your career. You know, it's just
yeah,
like,
yeah, I think
ah,
so. You
not
know,
quite.
I definitely think so. I missed it, of course, but I got to see it on the coaching side, so that was pretty unique to see it on the other side.
I think the coach has got a pretty good setup up there too.
Great
yeah,
setup.
Yeah.
for sure.
Great setup.
Um, so you get there, one of only a few true freshmen to see some action that year in 4 games. I got your bio. I got the Don Shump bio pulled up on the side
Oh
over here.
yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Yes,
What was
sir.
it like? What was it like to get in early? You know, get a little action. Probably, I think you played special teams, right?
Yeah, I was special teams. I was more like the gunner.
Yeah.
You know, back in them days, you had your ram and your line. And when the ball was snapped, these guys would move on the snap, and we was ball guys. So I had no lane responsibilities. I used to love it, bro, as a
Oh,
freshman. Like my first game was at the University of Michigan at the Big House, and I had like 3 tackles on kickoff that day. I mean, that's all I was. You know, I was living for kickoffs, bro. I wasn't necessarily getting in at receiver, but you know, as a young guy, you got to do whatever you got to do to make the team. You know, and I really feel like a lot of these young cats today, that's the thing that they don't understand. You know, they don't understand the competition and, you know, the failures and, you know, once you fail, how to push yourself and, you know, to get back to that next level. You know, these guys like to, you know, give in. You know, I think Iowa taught me how to just keep fighting, how to keep pushing because, you know, it's supposed to be tough. You know, but a lot of people want things easy and it's not an easy life. You know, and football not an easy game. So
there's a hell of a lot of dudes competing for not so many positions and a hell of a lot of money in a big sport. So it ain't nothing going to be easy about it. And coaches being paid millions of dollars, athletes being paid a crap load of money now. Like if you want it easy, you should have chose something else to do with your life.
I agree 100%.
You get in a few games. I really think you're an interesting case, Shump, because when you talk about kids nowadays versus a decade ago, it makes us sound old, but a decade ago, when the transfer portal wasn't so much a thing and NIL wasn't a thing, and you just kind of stayed where you were and fought out position battles, or maybe you hear of a guy transferring and finding another school. Now kids are at a different school 4 or 5 years in a row. Over the course of your career, and I'd love to hear it in your words, but it might not have panned out receiver wise like you may have saw it as you came from Hazelwood East in St. Louis. Every guy thinks they're going to be the guy, and then it's going to be the league, and that's it. Like it's a wrap. I'm going to make 10 million, and that's it. How do you look back upon that time now you've already mentioned it a couple times of how it really shaped you as an adult now in your 30s, and it teaches you hard lessons. Like what do you think about that time, and what do you think would have happened if the transfer portal was a thing back then?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So freshman, sophomore season, I'm just fighting to get receiver reps. Going into my junior year, I become like the third receiver. So 11 personnel, I come in, mostly third down, second downs, whatnot. Getting my feet wet. We playing Iowa State, and it's fourth down, it's fourth quarter. I think we down by about 3 to 4 points. We putting the drive together. I'm running the dig route to my left. I run a dig at about 16 yards. CJ Better, he put it on me. I jumped, left my feet, ball hit me in my chest. Fourth down, game over. The next couple weeks, my play time decreased, bro. So mentally, I'm just, I'm not there, bro. I'm just like, man, there's one play and all of a sudden it's gone. But the next year, as the season kept going, my reps kept getting decreased. All it did was just make me go harder. Like going into my senior year, bro, if you turned on the tape at practice, you wasn't gonna see a rep me not going 100%. If it was me blocking a corner down the field, if it was me running a route, I literally just had to give it everything I got. And in return, I was basically starting my senior year. Me and Tavon, we was kind of sharing reps, and I ended up going into account with the Chicago Bears and the Chiefs. So it really just showed me if I keep my head down, I can figure it out. But the moment you quit, those opportunities seize, man. And it really just made me become a harder worker, because I never was a guy that felt sorry for myself. I was just gonna put it out on the tape, because the tape don't lie. And so that's how I took that, man. And anytime I go through something tough in life today, I always flash back to those type of moments, knowing that I can push myself through if I keep my head down.
And that's I think that's one of the beautiful things about college football and going through the program is, you take a big step back, and it takes a long time to regain the coach's trust and your quarterback's trust. But you just talked about, I mean, that was like a 1.5 year process for you to get back up into like the starting role. We showed up in 2013 where you were kind of already in that role. And I definitely remember like you being one of those guys that coaches would point out. It's like, this is the type of effort that we need, like going through special teams drills, going through, every now and then they pull out effort plays during camp. And like, you would be one of the guys that they pull out somewhat frequently. And like Kluver said here, like you weren't always the most talkative dude as a senior. I mean, obviously we were freshmen. We didn't really talk to the seniors very much, but you were one of the dudes that we could definitely look to, and it's like, this is how you work. So I just want to say I appreciate you for that.
Oh yeah, man, I definitely appreciate it. And going back to like, if I would have transferred, probably, like, I
Yeah.
probably would have never stuck it out. I mean, that's
And,
why.
and what's crazy is like 10 years later, successful, you've been into coaching now you're doing the agent thing. Like you've got, like you're doing it, man. Like you're finding all the success in the sport still, helping out others. And I just wonder like how many guys nowadays, like you said with the basketball thing, if you would have took that basketball route, none of anything right now would be happening probably.
For
Like,
sure.
and all these guys that are transferring now, they're not sticking it out. They don't play their freshman year. I mean, it's crazy. These kids come in and think, if I don't get your time my freshman season, I got to go somewhere else. And it's just like, how many stories are getting cut down because they don't let it develop. And I get the urgency. You only have so many years in college, although it seems like they'll give you 6 or 7 nowadays. It's just like, I don't think we have any Don Shumps. If you just transfer all the time and you just got a bunch of quitters. And I like having Shumps of the world. Like Kevin said, I wholeheartedly agree. I think we got to be in the building with you as teammates for 4 or 5 months, but all I can remember is this is a guy who you look to. He puts his head down, he works, he does everything right. He takes the coaching, he gets better. Like everything you want from as a coach from a player is what you were Shump, and I don't know. I don't know if we have as many of those guys out there these days.
I got one more thing I got to pull up from, I remember every now and then, Coach Davis would pull up some game clips during the games. Do you remember his nickname for you?
Spot.
Explain to the people why you were nicknamed Spot.
So Coach Davis, man, I love Coach, by the way, man. Coach Davis, he always called me Spot because he said wherever I caught the ball at, that was the spot I was gonna land at. In other words, he was saying my yak was not good, bro. He was saying it was gonna be a catch spot, first down, bro.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take the first.
Yeah, we'll take it. Hey, we move the chains. I'm gonna get up height. We gonna move them chains, baby. That's funny though, man.
I do remember.
Yeah,
that.
I agree though, Tyler. You definitely don't get the same stories that you probably would have got. Those grit stories that's putting your head down and just working through things. In this environment, it's just gonna be a little tougher. And I think it's a disservice for some kids, especially even just the parents and the people that's babying these kids right now. They really don't understand the reality of life. And we had to really figure out the reality once we put the pads down. And I'm sure that was probably one of the toughest transitions for both of you guys to go through, just trying to figure out what's next, but I'm sure you probably, lean back to your Iowa days and you're like, well, if I made it through that, I think I can make it through this, because it's not going to be too many workouts that's tougher than an Iowa workout for 4 years of your life, bro. I mean, come on now. Let's just be serious, bro. We was different, bro. Like, it's a reason why, every year we always compete and we got a good team because it was the way we worked, so I love hard work.
Amen to that, brother. Yeah, we've talked about the transition from post athletics a few times on here, and I think the hardest thing for me was it was a lot easier to compete in a team environment, but now you got to go out and compete with yourself and find meaning for yourself outside of the team without anyone else there along that battle with you. But like you said, man, you got to lean back on all the tough experiences that you've been through for the last 4 or 5 years, and makes it a little bit easier.
I agree.
No doubt.
Now, I will say this, yeah, I do think the gritty stories, they're definitely less frequent now, given where we're at with college football. But I do think that the ones that still stick around, that the stories that do come out, like we had Jay Higgins on the podcast a few weeks ago.
It's true.
About a guy sitting his time for 2-3 years and then becoming an All-American. I think that makes it even more special because
I agree.
He could have transferred. He could have gone somewhere else. And I don't know if his story ends up the same way, but he puts his head down. He goes to work. I think he's got a great set of parents that kind of pushed him to do it too. And I don't think there's anybody in the world would say that he didn't reach his full potential at Iowa.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%. Great player.
Speaking of potential, Kevin. Speaking of potential, before we go any further, Shump, as you see down on the screen there, presented by Eagle Point Solar tonight. We do it big around here, right? We're big time. We got sponsors.
I love it.
What is the potential savings that you could have, Kevin Ward, if you switch to solar energy? What a question. How would you know? How would you find out? Take your energy bill, go to eaglepointsolar.com, do their free solar analysis. Grant, I know I can see it in your eyes. You're doing it right now. You're figuring out how much money you could save.
I got split screen. Got it. Monitor over here is just Eagle Point Solar.
I knew you were. How about last episode, Brad? That guy's pretty good with his money, right?
He's better than me.
Head of the Swarm Collective, done pretty well for himself with his own. What's he do? What's his thing? Actuary. Man has solar on his house. These people, they.
I assure you, he ran the numbers.
He ran the numbers. And they want to run the numbers with you, Eagle Point Solar. They just want to educate you, sit you down. That's what the free solar analysis is for. By the way, if you do that, $200 Amazon gift card, they're going to sit you down, talk it out. Maybe you don't save any money. Who knows? Each individual situation is different. Maybe you do. What if you had $25, $50, $100 extra a month because you're saving money on your energy bill? Who knows? 3 people this past weekend, I heard, reached out to Eagle Point Solar because of the Walk Ons. You could be one of those people. You could be. That's all I'm saying. As long as the sun doesn't die. Back to Shump. Shump, when in the hard times, right? Your sophomore year, you're going through those hard workouts. It's the winter, all that stuff. Who did you lean on, other than maybe Coach Johnson, who recruited you? Who were some of the guys in your class? Maybe some of the other coaches on the staff, or just anybody when you had a bad day? Like, man, we always get that story, even from some of the best players. I think Werfs, a couple other guys have come on here, guys who played in the league, and they're like, no, I had a few days where I was like, I don't know if I can make it here. I think I might quit. Who was that for you?
Yeah, first off, I would say my mom and my dad. Just talking to them, after a tough day, always, my number one cheerleaders motivate me, tell me to keep going, keep pushing, so just talking to them, it was good encouragement. And also just had like really good close friends I grew up with, like a couple boys that I can always just vent to. I think as man, we need to learn how to open up and vent. And so I think as a young age, 18, 19-year-old, kind of taught me that, like, bro, we would just sit down and just have like bro talks. And, because everybody going through something, you just don't know what they're going through,
Facts.
So I would just say, man, friends and family really kind of got me through those tough days.
Is there ever a day specifically you remember where like you got cracked and you're like, man, I don't know if this is for me? Is there any hit that you took during your time where you're like, you still thinking about that guy?
I tell you what, it's a hit that I gave to Le'Veon Bell my freshman year, bro.
Okay.
I still feel that hit to today, bro. You remember we were talking about kickoff, man. And so I was like a gunner on kickoff. I was a ball guy. And we playing at Michigan State my freshman year. Kick it off to Le'Veon. I'm going to him. I probably hit him right about the 20, 25-yard line, chopped his legs down. But as soon as I hit him, bro, all the pain went straight to my back, bro. And to this day, yeah, bro, like to this day, I can still feel it. And so I was actually happy because you remember I said I was going to Iowa to play defense. That's when I was like, I made the right decision by going to Iowa. I'm like, bro, if I got to hit dudes like this every play, Le'Veon was 225, 230.
Le'Veon was a big boy,
like,
man.
He was a huge dude, bro. And I smacked him, but I felt all the hit. I mean, all of it, bro. It was crazy.
Did you get up like you were like nothing happened, or did you like that one hurt?
No, we got to get up. Like the adrenaline, we gonna get up and act like it's all good.
Played it off. I can see Shump right now. He played it off. He was like, "Yeah, come on."
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to find the camera.
No question.
Those kickoff tackles are some of the most fun tackles to watch, man.
They really are.
And they're cutting it down with the new rules in the league and all that stuff. And college guys just fair catch it now. It's kind of crazy, but
I agree.
I still think about God, what was his name? Collins.
Which Collins? Collins.
His last name was Collins. What was his first name?
What position?
I don't know. He was built like a brick, though. He played He played our freshman year. It would have been your senior year, Shump. He was number 55. He had dreads.
Yeah, Collins. Yeah, linebacker.
Yeah. And he would just go kamikaze people on kickoff, man.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I think it was Marcus Collins.
Marcus Collins.
I was going to say Michael, but I know it's not right.
Marcus Collins, man.
Yeah.
It was that kind of stuff. Watching you guys run down on kick. Oh, that special teams meeting.
I think he actually he may have killed some dude versus Michigan, Western Michigan, our freshman year.
Murdered him.
Yeah, I believe. I believe
crazy.
He was different.
he was built unbelievably.
Yeah.
So you graduate. Couple mini camp invites, I think. Bears, maybe one with the Chiefs, I think I saw somewhere.
Yeah.
And what was your expectation? Where were you at mentally coming out of your senior year?
Just wanted the opportunity.
Yeah.
I know my career didn't go as well as I wanted it to from a stat standpoint. So it was like, put all the eggs on pro day, perform good, and then just see what happens. So for me as a player, it was great to, go through those two camps and just to see it up close and just to know that you can compete at that level. So it was really good for me now. when I had to put the pads down, that's when things got a little tough. But that's part of life.
I mean, I know for speaking for myself, that was a very somber moment when you realize, it's pretty much it's done, man. You played your last snap. Talk to us about what your emotions were going through that period.
It was tough, man. So this is back in 2015. I actually ruptured my quad muscle as well. Like, it was one of them injuries where you knew everything was over. Like, yeah, I mean, it's over, bro. Like, I was running and it just popped on me. And so I'm dealing with that. It's first time, I was a freak athlete and now I can't even walk. I'm not playing football anymore. I'm without a job. Already didn't have no money. Back then we was really broke.
Seriously.
Like, I mean, hell, we was making like 800 a check a month or something. I can't remember. I mean, it wasn't a lot, And so right now I'm just trying to figure out like what's next. And then luckily, as time went on, I ended up getting into coaching, and I was coaching at my high school my first year in 2015, and that's what kind of catapulted, life after football for me. So it definitely worked out when it's all said and done.
Did you always have coaching like in the back of your mind going through during college? Is like something you wanted to get into, or just kind of something you kind of fell into?
Yeah, I always told myself that I wanted to get into coaching when it was all said and done. I always thought as a player, I was pretty smart as like picking up the plays and that's memorizing playbooks. So I thought that can carry over. And of course, just making the impacts and building those relationships with athletes, the main reason why I got into it. But I definitely saw myself as a coach, while I was playing.
Nice. So you spend a year with your high school, and then you get a GA, you come back to Iowa. Like, how did that process go? Did you reach out to KF or like have a conversation with him about it? Or?
Yeah, definitely. So anybody that's trying to get into coaching or do something new, I always tell them that's to write a personal letter. Like, that's much better than an email or a text message. So I wrote Coach Franz a letter that's expressing my interest, telling him, I'm getting back into coaching. And ironically, he hit me back in the summer of 15. And I tell people all the time, treat every day like an interview, because I never had to interview for that job. The interview was my 4 years as a player. And, like you guys said, when you first came in as freshmen, you remember me as the guy that was doing things right. And so that's what I want to be remembered, a man of my word, showing up on time, being disciplined, a hardworking guy. So, those characteristics, it really helped me into the next phase of my life. And that's what really got me into coaching. But definitely think outside the box sometimes, if you're trying to, get into something new, you got to find a way to get into it.
That's a great quote, and I actually love that. Treat every day like an interview. That's good stuff. I'm gonna take that with me.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother.
I had forgotten that Shump came back, and now that I think back, I remember running around with you as a G. I remember that. That was a fun year, obviously.
Yeah, that was what, 16, right?
15, 16. I mean, 15 would have been our undefeated year.
So I actually missed the 15 season.
Okay, so it would have been 16 then.
And I came in 16. So
I remember running around you out there with the, wrangling guys up, all this, scout team. Like, it was fun.
Yeah, that was good times. Like, that's when I was actually learning football at that point.
Yeah.
I became a football junkie. So it was
I feel
good
like
times.
KF is good about any guy who wants to come back in GA. Like, he brings back a lot of dudes.
Yeah,
they've turned out like a lot of guys too. Like
a lot.
I mean, yeah, like all over the place. I mean, Miles is doing his thing.
Miles is going out to LA. I don't know if you saw.
He is. Yep.
Really?
He's going to LA. He just got hired by the Chargers.
Really?
Bolt
Yeah,
up.
man.
Oh my God.
Matt Aponte, he got hired by the Chicago. Of course,
I saw that.
Definitely WUW, the OC up there. So it's guys moving. Definitely guys moving from Iowa. And I worked with Aponte and WUW when I was as a GA. So it's good to see them guys, continue to make that climb.
It's crazy.
It is actually kind of wild when you think about it. Yeah, but it's pretty cool to see. How was your experience being on the other side of things? Being a player, just not only a couple years prior to that.
You really have to grow up quick. You have to really learn, what it's like to be a coach. So, it's really getting up early, staying late, doing whatever you can do for the player. For me, it was really learning football. I took it serious, like this, like football class. So let me learn things that I don't know, things about defense, protection, run game, whatever that may be. I really just became a sponge during that time as a young coach, just trying to learn as much as I possibly could.
Can you maybe we've talked about this a couple times before, but elaborate for the fans on the time commitment that the coach has got to put in, especially during the season?
Yeah, it's different. It take a different guy, but I would say, like me, from my experience, coaching in the league, when I was the Giants my first season. I'm like let's imagine like a GA in the NFL. I'm like a assistant, but I'm doing all the GA, the grunt work. I worked 100 hours a week for 6 months straight, no days off, just getting it in, bro. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm back at midnight. My job is to draw the PowerPoints, to break down the film, to draw the plays. So I'm doing all the back end work that people don't see, but the operation don't go without me, because you need a grunt guy at the end of the day. And so it was tough. It was tough. I just had to. That's the reason I kind of pivoted out. Let's just put it like that. That's the reason I kind of pivoted out.
That is. Like you said, that is grunt work that will make I think some dudes in the Marines blush a little bit.
I mean, it's that's the thing too, is because there's so few jobs, right? Like everybody wants a job as a assistant coach, as a coordinator. Like everybody wants football to be their job, right? Any guy who played, there's just such a saturation of a lot of or a lot of demand. No, a lot of supply, not a lot of demand. And you got to cut your teeth doing that crappy work. And man, it is, I mean, we watched it happen. And then even when you get out of it, if you're in college still, those guys don't go home. Like we talked to Coach Woods this past summer, and he's talked about how multiple times he's slept in his office. And
I used to sleep in with Woods his first season in 2016. I was his GA, bro. So we had the long nights together, bro. I'm telling you,
that's cute, man. That's cute.
I mean, like, you just really have to love football, and it's got to be a true passion. And then even past that, you got to have the right opportunity and some luck, and it's just a lot. You were with the Cardinals for how long?
Yeah, I was with the Cardinals from 19 to 23, so like 5 seasons.
Okay, that's a long time.
Yeah, definitely, man. Seen a lot. It was good. It was a great experience, that's for sure.
I mean, you got to live in Arizona. That's cool.
I loved Arizona. Now, the summers are extremely brutal, but I still loved it because that was the first time I got introduced to no snow. And now I'm out in Cali, so obviously it's like I'm not going back to the snow, bro. I'm gonna let you guys have it.
Visit St. Louis for Christmas, and then that's about it.
There you go.
Yeah. So when was the first time you got a little like inkling of what you're doing now? Because you've transitioned into, you're an NFL agent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
and I see on your story you still do a little bit of training athletes, right?
Yeah, I'm always train.
Oh,
like
okay.
coaching always would be like in me. So I'm a train for the rest of my life. And so this is what happened as far as me transitioning to an agent. So back in COVID, we was working from home. We was leading the football meetings from home, and I'm like, I can get used to this. Like, this is actually pretty sweet. Not having to, get up extremely early and report and going to the office, but still get your work done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. I had basically 6 months to finish my semester, to finish my master's. And once I got let go with the Cardinals my last year, I decided, let me just go back and finish my master's and let me just pursue this agency thing, because always been a businessman. Like I was teaching myself financial literacy and things of that nature after I left college. I really studied it, did real estate and other different ventures, but I just felt like football was taking too much of my time for me to be as creative as I wanted to be. And so now I stepped out on faith, bet on myself. But I'm actually the first NFL coach turned NFL agent. So, that hasn't happened.
I'm surprised that you're the first one.
Yeah, bro. Like
Yeah,
There you go.
well, I mean, if you think about it, like Tyler was saying, it's already hard enough to get an NFL job.
that's
So,
true.
I
True.
mean, most people once they get that job, they good. They locked into their career, and they trying to coach until the day they die. But I got a different blueprint, and it's going good because end of the day, I got into coaching for the athlete, and it's the same with the agency side. I just as a coach, I kind of figured just for me looking at the players, like guys was not getting the right guidance. And it might be just as simple as let's fix your credit and buy you a house when you first get into the NFL. And that'll take you a long way post-career. But it's just like I just feel like people, are taking advantage of these guys and not necessarily showing them how to keep the money, how to stay on top, and really how to just go through a whole NFL. Because just like as a college athlete, you got to go through those different stages. It's even more brutal in the NFL because it's cutthroat. And, most of those guys are used to playing. All of a sudden, they got to sit on the bench. And so really just getting that mental help and, having somebody you can vent to and talk to, and, that's real critical for them guys. And I really feel like, that's where I can help bridge the gap.
Well, in addition to, like you just mentioned, being the only coach who's then become an agent, like you've got such perspective that no other agent can offer these guys. Say, hey, man, these are what these guys are looking for you to do. This is what you got to work on in the off season. This is what you got to work on during your pro day and really show them that you can do. This is what they're going to be looking like, analyzing you for. And then once you show up in the building, they want you to, this is how they want you to act. This is how they want you to perform. It's like, that's got to be invaluable for a young athlete coming out of college to hear.
100%. Like I tell the guys, it's like really having a cheat sheet. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. And it's kind of up to you just to execute it, but you won't be blindfolded as far as what's about to happen, and I really feel like I tell guys too, it's like, bro, would you go have a doctor operate on you and he never went to school for 8 years? Like a lot of these guys that are agents, they never even put on the pad. So like, how can they possibly relate to you on the day-to-day on exactly like what's really going on?
For sure.
And so, I just hope that, guys would, believe in me and they can see, the different things that I'm doing, how I can help, prolong their career as a player and, post-career.
A lot of guys out there just want that. They're just coming for the money.
Most of them
They just see that contract like, I can help a guy out, take 3%,
Exactly. I mean, most of them are. I mean, that's just it's a doggy world. I mean, let's just be honest. How many good people that you actually come across? Not a lot. And so that's what I try to have my reputation. Just like you guys remember me from Iowa as a guy that took care of business. I like people to remember me as being as real as they come. Like I'm not a two-faced person. Like what you see is what you get. I'm not trying to sell you a dream. Like I'm really just trying to help you get to that next level, by using my experience.
That's a process too, right? You got to take a test, get like accredited or get certified, right?
It's a tough test, extremely tough test. 60 questions, about 3 hours. People typically fail the first time. But I want to say me working in the NFL, the terminology wasn't as hard for me to get. I just had to, get in depth with the numbers and, how to do the different contracts. But it wasn't bad. I locked in for a good 4 to 5 months with studying every day. And, if you put the work in, good things happen. So now I'm here and I got a couple guys, for this draft and, continue to work and, see what happens, man.
That's so sick.
Who do you got coming out this year?
So I got Mookie Cooper. He's from Mizzou. He remind me of guys that I coached in the past. Guys that's smaller, like 5'8", but they really good with the ball in their hands. Punt return guy, kick return guy. Make the first guy miss, play multiple positions. So, I got him. I got a couple other receivers from University of Elon. Couple
Marcos territory, huh?
Say it again.
I don't know if Shump knows who DeMarco is.
You
Yeah,
know
that's
Nick
my guy.
DeMarco?
Yeah, I know Marco.
Oh,
Marco.
you would have been. Yeah, he would have been there in 16. Yeah.
Yeah, so 100%.
Dude,
And,
he's cranking out. I watched some videos online of some of the stuff that those guys do in the weight room. It's like, he's got some dogs on that team.
No, he do, and he's a dog himself because some of the
Well, we know
workouts he
that,
still does is just crazy. I'm like, bro, my whole back will fall apart if I try any of that.
He's nuts.
He is.
So what does that look like then? Because we have a pseudo friend, a Husker friend that we met through, and he played at Nebraska. He's an agent now as well.
Oh, nice.
He's been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and
He
he's
just
described.
focuses on linemen, though.
Yeah, he's kind of a lineman guy. He's talked about how, the season rolls around for college football and he's out there basically recruiting guys. It's kind of like a coach. Like, you're trying to go find guys that are going to sign with you with NIL and all this stuff. All these guys have, NIL agents now while they're in college. It kind of blurs the lines. What does that look? What's your process of going and finding a guy or finding a roster of guys for a draft class? What does that look like?
Yeah, for me, I just have an eye for the certain guy that I'm looking for.
Okay.
So, I might go through the college rosters and see certain guys that I know probably won't be high round picks, but they got potential to play in the NFL. And so I kind of just make a list, and after I make my list, I go out and contact guys. And then after that, like as I continue to grow, people, they give me leads. And so sometimes I look up other guys that people have, sent me or whatnot. But it's really just doing my own homework. And then if I feel comfortable on the guy, just like as y'all was getting recruited or whatnot, then that's when I really just up the ante and and I really press them and to try to tell them about myself, the different things I can offer. Like you said, now it is a lot of NIL agents, so the earlier you get on guys, the better. But for some guys it might work, but for other guys, they realize that this dude probably isn't the best for me. I need to probably switch. So I really think it's a two-way street on how to handle it or whatnot, but it's definitely different. Things are changing, and it's a lot more agents these days as it probably was years ago. So it's a lot more competition as well.
For sure.
Our last podcast, we had a conversation with Brad about these NIL agents, and there may be a business model for undercutting them because these guys are taking like 10, 15, 20%. So
no, for sure. Like they are taking a lot. It's like the Wild Wild West right now. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to get some rules put behind it, but it's definitely ways where you can cut it. And I just think 20% on anything is just insane. But that's a whole other topic.
I mean, yeah, the government's already taken almost half, and then you gotta give them
It's crazy.
Not a whole lot of the pie left after that.
For sure, right?
G-Bone, I don't want to. If you have any questions, you have the floor. I don't want to make you quiet the whole episode.
Oh, I do got one burning question for you. I've got some friends who are from Missouri as well, St. Louis area, and my thing with Missouri, a lot of people call Missouri the South. Would you say that Missouri is the South? That's what I got to know from someone who actually lived there.
I would say the whole culture is more Southern driven.
Okay.
But I would say just looking on the map, we kind of call it the Midwest, but I think the culture is more South. So
okay,
I can see why people say that.
Okay, so you like St. Louis itself, because I feel like there's a difference between like Columbia and St. Louis,
Right.
Missouri, right? Like,
Big
would
time.
you like I know Columbia's in the SEC, right? But like
Uh-huh.
in terms of St. Louis and like I guess like is that even northern Missouri? It's kind of in the middle, right?
Central.
It's kind of like in the middle towards the east.
Yeah, you would that's still you would consider that like this is the South.
Yeah, I would consider
Okay.
it the South.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It's right there.
I mean, it's good food. When you think of the South, you think of good food. Good
I do think
culture.
of good food. Yeah.
What's the best
Yeah.
spot back home? If you go back home, what's the spot?
Well, we known for our Chinese food. Fried rice is outstanding.
Okay.
St. Louis is known for Chinese food?
Yes, bro. Like,
Is there like a little China in St. Louis?
well, basically, all the Chinese spots, they kind of cook them very similar, and
Okay.
it's just like a St. Louis staple, to be honest.
I would do some fried rice right now, man.
You
Yeah,
got a
it's
favorite
different.
barbecue spot in St. Louis?
A couple, bro. It's a spot called Reds. I mean, it's a lot of spots. They known for barbecue and Southern food, so soul food. You come to St. Louis, you definitely will eat good. Like that's for sure.
Now, I got a follow-up question to Grant's question. There's a rumor out there that says if you cut the bottom 10% of Iowa and give it to Missouri, that both states' IQs increase. Get a comment.
Hold up, say it one more time.
Shut-
Sorry.
The idea, Shump, is that if you took the dumbest people from Iowa
Uh-huh.
and you gave them to Missouri, both states' IQ average would go up.
I can see that. I can totally see that. Hey, look, I met a lot of
Shump's one of those. Hey, Shump was 2-time academic All-American.
Yeah,
So he isn't a part of that. He isn't a part of that.
Exactly. I'm on the other side. But I did meet a lot of smart Iowa people, so I can see where you're going.
I'm not an Iowa native, so I can't claim that one.
Okay. Where you from again, Kev?
I'm from outside Chicago.
Okay.
But I've since made Iowa my home. I haven't left since school.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Shump, this was a good time catching up, man. We're happy we got to do this.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thanks
I'm
for
gonna stay
having
in touch, and I'm gonna keep following you. I love seeing what you're doing with the with the agent stuff. And again, I saw you training people out there, doing footwork yesterday. So I'm into that stuff too. So
yeah,
we like we said before we hit record, it's cool to see former teammates doing cool stuff, and we're happy to know you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. And keep up the good work. I seen the podcast. It's been taking off ever since you guys launched it. So I always respect guys that keep their head down and, they keep doing it. That's tough. A lot of people like to quit. So I salute you guys.
So one thing we haven't done is quit.
There you go.
We ain't gonna quit. Hope everybody enjoyed our pod with Shump. I know you did. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. We'll be back again next time. We're trying to get a couple guys on the team that just graduated. I think we got a couple more lined up. So we'll see if we can get them on next time, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Yes, sir.